Just so you know.
Shalom, everyone. This is Brother Doug with my sister Shoshana, my brother Dennis, my brother and sister Bobby and Kristen, and my sister Sally. And we are the Awakened by Yahuah Fellowship Group. We are going to be jumping into a little expose/study of who are the sons of Elohim, who are the sons of Yahuah mentioned in the Tanakh, and what is the connection between them and us who are, by belief in Yahushua Messiah, have been given the right to become sons of Elohim, and spiritually we are already sons of Elohim right now. But we're going to dive into this topic, and just a little summary, just to give people who don't know the mainstream, probably everyone knows the mainstream taught theory of Genesis 6:4 in cemetery school, as I like to call it, and all of us like to call it here. We like to call seminary school cemetery school because that's where true theology goes to die. So basically what they teach in mainstream Christianity and cemetery school is that the sons of Seth, Seth, the son of Adam, they teach that the sons of Seth went into the daughters of Cain and produced giants. Now, I'm no expert on math, but you don't get a normal human and get a Nephilim. So that's what I'm going to start off first by saying. So we're going to dive into these. First, we're going to dive into the Tanakh right now. We're going to go into scriptures that talk about what the Tanakh, which in English in your Christian Bibles will say Old Testament, what the Tanakh categorizes as sons of Elohim. So we're first going to go there first. All right, so we're going to start off with Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. I'm going to give you guys time to get there. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. I'm going to be using my Bible Discovery app, which I really like. And here we go. So Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. Okay, so now it says here the giants, or let me actually go. Let me see something real quick. Oh, no, I have the Septuagint on here. I must have forgot. See here real quick. Now the Septuagint will say there was giants in the earth in those days, and after that, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men. So there's two kinds. Yahuah creates everything according to its kind. There's two kinds being mentioned here. There's the daughters of men, meaning daughters of mankind, and the sons of Elohim. They bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown, or your translation might even say the heroes of old. The heroes of Greek mythology, that's where those guys come from. They were the titans, the giants. So Genesis chapter 6, verse 4 clearly shows two different types, two different species mating with one another. So that right there discounts the Sethite theory just from there. But we're also going to go to the book of Job now. The book of Job touches on that. And actually, let me see here. I might actually change my app because for some reason I didn't have the Septuagint on there yet. So let me just fix this here. And I'm going to go to my eSword app because I know I have records on that. Septuagint is an interesting translation. It's actually the Tanakh that Yahushua and his disciples actually read from, so that's why I tend to test the Masoretic text against it. All right, so all right, be patient, everyone. Waiting for my app to open up right now. Unfortunately, it's taking longer than usual. All right. Anyway, just to let you guys know, a lot of the times in the Septuagint, when it says the sons of Elohim, it will actually translate it as the Malach of Elohim, the Malachim of Elohim. So, all right, so we're going to go to the book of Job now. Job chapter 1, verse 5. Chapter 1, verse 5. It says, it was so when the days of their... Oh, okay, hold on. Job 1, 5. No, actually it's 1, 6. Never mind. Okay, here we go. Now it happened on the day when the sons of Yahuah, or the sons of Elohim, came to present themselves before Yahuah, that Hashatan, Satan, also came among them. So this is like a heavenly council. This is like basically the sons of Elohim came to Yahuah to present themselves before Yahuah. And I would even say it would not really make much sense that the sons of men are going to be presenting themselves before Yahuah with Satan among them. It would be a little weird. So I believe this definitely actually exposes the Sethite theory also. So that's Job chapter 1, verse 6. Now we're also going to go to Job, and actually to prove this too, we have, let me just put my share screen on so I can show you guys the difference in the Septuagint here. If I go to my share screen and go to the sword here. Okay, so in the Breton Septuagint, Job 1:6 says, and it came to pass on a day that, behold, the Malachim of Elohim came to stand before Yahuah, and Hashatan, the devil, came with them. So the Septuagint actually translates sons of Elohim many times as Malachim of Elohim, like literal translation. So now we're going to go to Job chapter 2, verse 1, which is kind of like a reoccurrent event here. Job chapter 2, verse 1 says, and it came to pass on a certain day that the Malachim of Elohim, again, Malachim of Elohim instead of sons of Elohim, so came to stand before Yahuah, and the devil came among them to stand before Yahuah. So again, they're presenting themselves before Yahuah. Okay, so now we are going to go stay in the book of Job, actually, and we're going to go to chapter 38, verse 7. And it says, when the stars, or the Masoretic text would probably say morning stars, were made, all my Malachim praised me with a loud voice. That's what it says in the Septuagint. Now, in the Masoretic text, it will probably say, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy. So a little bit different wording, but it's pretty much the same thing. The Septuagint, the reason I'm using it is because it defines the sons of Elohim as Malachim. That's the reason I'm using that translation. So now we are going to go to Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 8. And it says here, I'm going to start in the Masoretic text. It will say, let's see, let me go, I think I'll go with the ISR here for the Masoretic text. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the children of Yashrael. Now, this is a little weird here. This is where it gets weird. Because in one instance in the Masoretic text, he's saying he set the boundaries of the nations, of all the nations coming from the Tower of Babel, according to the number of the children of Yashrael. Now, the only problem is there was no nation of Yashrael at the Tower of Babel. That's the only problem. So if we take that into consideration and we go to the Septuagint version of this verse, it actually says, when the Most High divided the nations, referring to the Tower of Babel, when he separated the sons of Adam, the sons of man, when he set the bounds of the nations according to the number of the Malachim of Elohim. Again, so some translations will actually correctly put sons of Elohim in the Masoretic text, like the English Standard Version says sons of Elohim. So it's very controversial with certain translations. They choose children of Israel. Doesn't make sense. But I think the Septuagint is being way more honest with the text. It's actually talking about that Yahuah set the boundaries of those other nations to the Malachim, who are categorized as sons of Elohim, as a metaphor. So now we're going to go to the Besorah account, the good news account of the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 28. And this is an interesting connection here, referring to the resurrection. It says, therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the seven? For they all had her. Now, this is obviously, if you read in prior verses, they were trying to stump. The Pharisees were trying to stump Yahushua by saying, okay, well, she kept remarrying, all his other brothers, so whose wife is she going to be in the resurrection? So, and then Yahushua answers and says unto them, verse 29, you do error, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Yahuah. For in the resurrection they do not marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the Malachim of Yahuah in heaven. So there's a connection between us when we shall physically be the children of Yahuah, the sons of Elohim in that day, in the resurrection. There's some connection between us and the Malachim of Elohim, that we will be like them. We will not be given into marriage. So I found that pretty interesting. Also, if you go to prophecy in the book of Hosea, I think this kind of mirrors that, or hints to that we're going to be changed in some type of way. So Hosea chapter 1 verse 10 says, yet the number of the children of Yashrael shall be as the sand of the sea. So shall, it's future tense, which cannot be measured nor numbered. So that's actually referring to the book of Revelation, if you're frequent with that terminology. A number that can't be measured or numbered. So that's very similar to where you see all the believers standing on a sea of glass in the book of Revelation. Says they can't. There was a huge, great multitude that couldn't be numbered. So Hosea 1:10 is actually connected to the book of Revelation. And then it says, cannot be measured or numbered, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living Elohim. Again, that phrase, sons of Elohim, sons of the living Elohim. So something changes us from being sons of man, I believe. Something changes us from being sons of Adam physically, the sons of the living Elohim. That's just my opinion. And I believe the text supports that in Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. And as we go on, we are going to go next to one of Paul's epistles, actually. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 52. Verse 50 first. And it says in verse 50, now this I say, brothers, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahuah, neither does corruption, meaning the bodies we have now, inherit incorruption. And then it says, behold, I show you a mystery, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. So what Paul is saying right here is he's making a distinction that not all of us are going to be asleep in the resurrection. Some are going to be asleep, some are going to be not asleep, meaning still alive and remain, but we all are going to be changed, meaning a physical transformation. And it says, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Now, if you connect that with another one of his letters, where he expounds upon this, is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. We're going to start at verse 13 in chapter 4. But I would not have you be ignorant, brothers, concerning them which are asleep. So now he's going to explain the whole thing about asleep and not being asleep. That you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Yahuwah reign with him. For this we say unto you by the word of Yahuwah, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Master shall not prevent them which are asleep. For Yahushua himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archmalach, and with the trumpet of Yahuwah, and the dead in the Messiah shall rise first. Then which we are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Master. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. So that was 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 to 18. And basically, Paul's just elaborating from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 50 and 52. So he's explaining the mystery. He's explaining that some will be dead in Messiah, which are asleep, and some of us will be alive and remain post-tribulation, mind you. You can check that in Matthew 24:29, but we're going to stay on topic. So he's just making a difference between the dead in Messiah and those that are alive and remain, and that all of us will be changed. All of us will be changed in the resurrection. So I got two more cross references, and after that, I'm going to see if my brothers and sisters have anything to add, any elaborations or comments or questions. So we're going to go quickly to John chapter 1, verse 12. But as many as received him, meaning believed in Yahushua, to them he gave the power to become the sons of Yahuah, even to them that believe on his name. So very important here. There's two aspects I really just want to quickly say. Knowing the name of Yahushua is important, number one. Says that believe on his name, not names. Okay, so very important we don't devalue the importance of knowing the Son's true name. And another thing is that he, meaning Yahushua, gave us the power to become the sons of Yahuwah. So we spiritually right now have been recreated according to 2 Corinthians 5:17, but we're still waiting to be born of the Spirit, as Yahushua references in the Basora accounts. We haven't been physically born of the Spirit to be sons of Elohim. So now I'm going to go to my last cross-reference here, which is 1 John chapter 3. Well, actually, it's two cross-references here. 1 John chapter 3, verses 1 to 2. Behold, what manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Yahuwah. Therefore, the world knows us not, because it knew not him. Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahuwah, and it does not yet appear, meaning we do not yet see what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, meaning the return of Yahushua, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And it's very important that those two verses are extremely important, especially verse 2. Okay, we don't know what we shall be yet, meaning we don't know the actual, what we literally will physically look like. That hasn't been revealed to us yet. Our physical transformation of the resurrection hasn't been revealed to us yet. Number two, no one has seen Yahushua as he is. They saw a human version of the Son. They did not see the fullness of the Son yet. And that's what it says. We shall see him as he is, not meaning the way he was when he took on human flesh, when he became a human being. So that verse is very important to me anyway. And it shows that Yahuwah loves us so much that he gave us the right to become his children. So after that, I think that concludes my portion. of the cross references. Now, I would like to give time to my brothers and sisters here with the Awakened by Yahuah Fellowship Group to add what, if they have any other cross references, comments, additions to this study.
Doug?
Yeah.
I believe somewhere it does give a description of what Yahushua looks like now. His resurrection. His hair is white as wool. His face shines like the sun.
Yeah, that's that's in Revelations 2, I'm thinking, or 3. Let me look that up real quick. He had hair like wool, feet like bronze, like burnt bronze.
Yes.
Feet like burned bronze. Eyes of flaming fire. Yeah, here we go. It's actually Revelations 1. Okay, so Revelations 1:15 is the first cross reference I see here. So yeah, this is when Yahushua actually is resurrected. This is even after the fact that he appeared to the disciples. This is like what Yahushua probably looks like right now. And it says, and his feet were like unto fine brass, as they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And so that verse right there gives you a little bit of description. And actually verse 14 before that says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were a flame of fire. So eyes a flame of fire, hair white like wool, like sheep wool. His feet were like burned brass, and he had a voice of many waters. So a very interesting description. Most likely that's what he looks like now. So that actually gives you a true description of what Yahushua looks like. And it's most likely we're going to have a similar appearance to him, because he's the one that makes us become sons of Elohim, and the sons of Elohim are made in the Father's image and in the Son's image. They have one image, because it says in Genesis chapter 1:26, plural, mind you, Yahuwah is speaking, saying, let us, plural, make man in our image. So there's not two images. There's not the Father's image, the Son's image. They have one image. And so if we originally were made in their image, so in the resurrection, I believe we will be made in the Father's image again. It's a restoring, a renewing. The corruption will be no more. Our corruptible physical human flesh will be no more.
It also says that he's wearing a robe, and he's girded about the chest with a golden band. The robe goes all the way to his feet.
Yep. The Revelations does say we will have white robes.
And that's verse 13, for anybody who wonders.
So, I believe I have everyone unmuted right now, so if anyone wants to add stuff before we close this recording, any comments? Okay, going once, going twice, 3, okay.
Looking forward to this.
Okay, go ahead, Shushan.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the resurrection and being like this, to be like Ben Ha-Adam, Yahushua Messiah.
So I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. This is Brother Doug signing off with my sister Shoshana, my brother Dennis, my sister Sally, our brothers our brother and sister, Bobby and Kristen. Please join us, and please, if you're starting for fellowship, any brothers and sisters in the faith of Yahushua, please reach out to us. We are on Facebook. You can actually find us on For the Lost Sheep Facebook group on there. You'll see all of our studies on there. If you would like to, click the bell and please subscribe to this channel if you like these studies. But overall, if you want to join our fellowship group, please reach out to one of us. Shoshana, my sister Shoshana Rogers is on Facebook. My brother Dennis Rogers is on Facebook. Bobby and Kristen USAP are also on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. So please reach out to one of us if you really would like some fellowship. Overall, thank you for joining us today. If you have not accepted Yahushua as your personal Savior, my hope and my prayer today is that you do. Please read John 3:16. And I hope that you will accept the Basora, that Yahushua died and rose again so that we would become like him, like the Father, and become children of Yahuah, and actually become his sons and daughters as it was intended in the creation. So I just hope and pray that in Yahushua's name. But thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your Shabbat.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.